Imagine you're talking to someone who's very open and they're just interested in perhaps the best way to eat as a human. Maybe you could give us 2, 3 paragraphs as to why you believe, at least, the carnivore diet is the most appropriate way to eat.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that if we look at, for instance, our body systems, how they function, if I were to have chest pain, that would be very concerning to me. I would clearly think that there's a problem there. If I have back pain, we know there's something wrong. If I have a headache. So, but often when it comes to digestion, a lot of people are willing to accept discomfort, bloating, pain, which I think are not normal.
If you are experiencing bloating when going vegan, don't let it get you down. You can figure it out, you can make it through, and then you can reach all of those awesome health benefits.
The last couple times I've eaten beans, I've been buckled over in pain, barely able to walk.
That should not be the case. My heart is beating, but I have no perception that my heart is, unless I'm exercising extremely hard. But this is one of the things I noticed when I went carnivore. When I ate, and I would eat 2 pounds of steak, an hour later, it was like nothing was happening. There was no perceptible sense of digestion occurring. It was just like, it's like when you go from driving a junky car that's noisy, there's cracks in the windshield, and it's really noisy. And then you jump in one of these really nice luxury cars and it's silent. It's like, huh, that's really interesting. So I think some of that. So we should look at how does it make our gut feel? Because I don't care what you believe about microbiome and all, your gut should not hurt when you're consuming food. Now, if it's hurting on carnivore, there's a problem. Maybe you have a gut issue. Maybe you have an underlying disease. There's nuances around carnivore, like maybe you're consuming too much fat or too much rendered fat or something, or not enough fat or something along those lines. But when we're eating the right food, our digestion should be smooth like a high-end Mercedes. It's super smooth, right? The other thing is, what does it do to our appetite? Are we feeling like we are getting a sense of satiety? If you eat something, you should not be hungry 2 hours later.
What about breakfast?
We've already had it.
We've had one, yes. What about second breakfast?
Getting hungry after breakfast, never heard that one before. Classical vegan starvation diet.
If you're eating adequate food of appropriate nutritional quality, then we should have some natural regulation of our diet. You should not need a calculator to figure out how to eat as a human being. There's no other animal on the planet that straps a Fitbit to their leg or their arm, or walks around with an app or a calculator to figure out what they need to eat. And the fact that we do as humans is a little bit kind of wild in my view. We should be able to eat. We should eat something, and we should have good body composition. I think a diet should naturally lend itself to good satiety, shouldn't cause digestive issues. And you should have a normal human shape when you're done. Obesity is not part of a normal human shape. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to be ripped and shredded and look like a bodybuilder, because that's not normal either. That's beyond what and some people want that. I mean, I get that. But I mean, when it talks like what does a normal human look like? How does a normal human feel, perform? And what's their digestion like? I think you can make a pretty good argument for carnivore in that situation. I think the problem is that we have, and you're in the UK, I mean, you got a little bit different food supply than the US does, but here in the US, I mean, we have many, many products on the shelves that have ingredients that we don't even know what the hell they do to humans. I mean, so we've got a lot of that. So I think when we change food from its natural form, we've processed it, we've ultra processed it. I just don't think eating powder is a good idea, right? I mean, if I were to go out looking to gather food, hunting food, I'm not going to find powder. If I'm lucky, I'll find some meat. If I'm good, I'll find some meat. And when we eat powder, the absorption characteristics have been so altered dramatically that it wildly impacts our physiology. It wildly impacts the microbiome that we discussed about, with regard to those types of things. I think that, the perfect combination is like a donut. I mean, it's like, well, a donut might not even be the worst, but it's flour, it's powdered flour, it's powdered sugar, it's some oil that the humans have never been exposed to before. Typically, I mean, remember, I know that there's a lot of controversy around the quote unquote seed oil debate. I mean, the reality is they just are not part of the natural human diet. They were only invented 130, 140 years ago, and so probably don't need to eat them. There's no reason we should be eating that stuff. We've traded off convenience for health. And now we have a lot of convenience foods that are shelf stable. Why are they shelf stable? Because they've stuck 27 different chemicals in there to keep them from going rotten. that's a problem. I think, I think those are real problems. If we only eat this one thing, everybody would be healthier.